My family, hi. So I have something urgent to share with you.
There's news out. I guess there's a lot of rumors saying that they believe that Benjamin is still passed away. Then I hear other things say that the rumor is that he's still alive.
Let's actually go through the evidence. We started to hear rumors around March 9th that Netanyahu was deleted, but they were just rumors. We didn't have any kind of concrete evidence. But because of this, people began to scrutinize everything else that came after. So in his next appearance, people began to question the authenticity of the video. So the first thing was people noticed it looks like he has 6 fingers in this video, with this one right here being the 6th finger. But you know what? I thought maybe that's just his palm. And in fact, I saw some people saying the same thing. So I just said, okay, whatever. And I dismissed it. But then a new video came out with him holding a coffee cup with law-defying physics. You'll notice here he picks up the cup, but at no point does it spill over. And in the video, he's grabbing it pretty forcefully and it's full to the brim. And when he takes a really large sip of the drink, not only does the pattern on the top of the coffee not significantly alter, but it's still full to the brim. And after seeing that, I said, okay, that's odd, but still not enough to convince me. But then people pointed out that the cash register seems to say 2024. And way later after the fact, I realized this massive gap in his hair, which isn't consistent with recent photos. But still, that wasn't enough to convince me. Here's the part that really got me. The next day, he released this video. In this video, his ring just completely disappears. And it actually happened several times. Now, that was the part that made me think, okay, something's up. But people were saying, hey, you know, iPhones tend to do this. Maybe this is just a mistake and a glitch with the iPhone. But then he released another video, but this time with Ambassador Mike Huckabee. So surely it's legit, because why would this public figure be in on some kind of scam pretending that he's with Netanyahu when he's not? But then when they shake hands, his index finger completely goes missing. In one scene, he has no breast pocket, but then in another scene, he does. And of course, everyone's noticed he has not been at really important military meetings, except for this one.
I'm here with Israel's defense minister.
But then we noticed the way he and everyone else is dressed is exactly identical to another meeting back in September of 2025. So did they just use a photo from the other meeting to recreate a new AI video? That's what many people think. And in light of everything else that we've seen so far, you know what? It seems likely. But that again raises the question, where then is Netanyahu if none of these videos are real? Did he actually go missing on March 9th? You know, the Iranians say that they deleted him on that date. Is that true? Or was he injured and they're just trying to hide that? Or did he flee to America to evade accountability from international courts? There's a huge question mark here on where actually is Netanyahu and why is Israel trying so hard to cover the fact that something's up. But additionally, why isn't the media reporting on this? There's enough here for a story. There's enough here to question the official narrative. Why hasn't any journalist asked Trump about this? We not only need to ask where's Netanyahu, we need to ask where's the media and why aren't they on this story? But
you don't know what to believe anymore.
And in light of that, I wanted to listen to this that was revealed to Brother Brandon.
By summertime, going into 2027 and going into 2028, that they would put this is part of it, that they would put a squeeze on all the fake media, all the fake news. Said the fact checkers are coming out huge in 2028 for the election, coming against your First Amendment rights in America, coming against freedom of speech. Would happen a lot in Europe. And that they would come after Elon Musk and the X platform. It's going to be a lot of coming against him in Europe and in.
Well, never forget that it's Elon Musk that owns X. Now, the row, of course, is about the function Grok, which allows people, if they go into the platform and use Grok, to basically put up images of people undressed. This was what Liz Kendall, the technology minister, had to say about it in the House of Commons yesterday.
Sharing intimate images without someone's consent or threatening to share them, including images of people in their underwear, is a criminal offence for individuals and for platforms. The Data Act, passed last year, made it a criminal offence to create or request the creation of non-consensual intimate images. And today, I can announce to the House that this offence will be brought into force this week.
So ultimately, as a result of the Online Safety Act, the government and the regulators do actually have the ability to ban X operating in the United Kingdom. And that threatens something of a diplomatic row with the Americans, who are very strong believers in free speech. Now, you might say, have they got the limits right? But they are strong believers in free speech. This was Sarah Rogers, and she's an official with the State Department, talking to Bev Turner last night.
It's Ofcom do decide that X should be banned in the UK, what will President Trump say or do about that?
America Bev has a full range of tools we can use to facilitate uncensored internet access in authoritarian, closed societies where the government bans it. We are facilitating uncensored internet in Iran right now. We've done that in the past elsewhere. And with respect to a potential ban of X, Keir Starmer has said that nothing is off the table. And I would say from America's perspective that likewise, nothing's off the table when it comes to free speech. So let's wait and see what Ofcom does, and we'll see what America does in response.
That's code for UK officials or even politicians could be banned from entering America. So we are at quite a pass with all of this. Now, just bear this in mind. It isn't just on X and through its function Grok that you can undress people and see sexualized images of children. In fact, Snapchat is a far worse offender than X, closely followed by WhatsApp and other platforms too. So it does feel, and yes, of course, none of us want this to happen. And it's always the fault of the person inputting to try and create these images. That's also true. But it does feel to me that this row is because it's Elon Musk's X. So you tell me at home, should X
other
be banned?
nations. And when this happens, I saw a lot of people going to X, but a lot of lawsuits coming against X and Elon for freedom of speech and things like that in those countries, banning him from allowing those to be in their countries. And then I saw a scandal like a Watergate.
Watergate was a botched up attempt to break in and to bug the Democratic National Committee. When I say it was botched up, I am referring to several things. One, I could never understand why anybody would want to bug the National Committee. I know national committees. There's nothing in the Republican National Committee worth knowing. You go to the campaign committee, and I'm sure the same is true of the Democratic National Committee. The second was the way that it's done. I remember reading about it when the report first came out, when I was in Miami. And I saw the Miami Herald, and I read about 6 men wearing surgical rubber gloves who had been caught trying to bug the Democratic National Committee. And I instantly thought, 6 men doing the job that one professional could do? I also was mystified by the fact that it was later indicated that the CIA had advanced knowledge of the break-in. They never told me. The Democratic Committee had advanced knowledge of the fact that a break-in was to occur. And Jack Anderson, the columnist, had advanced knowledge. As a matter of fact, it was so clumsily done that I would have to say that a pretty good case could be made, as some have made it, that it was deliberately botched up, that they wanted to get caught. So much for that. And so I would also say Watergate was illegal, and that it was wrong, and that it was very, very stupid thing to do. But whatever the stupidity of Watergate, the original break-in, or attempt to break in, I should say, which failed, that was exceeded by our reaction to it. It was stupidity at its very highest. Looking back, I don't understand why it happened that way. I think I do understand, but the reasons were apparently that the people on our White House staff and in the committee, with perhaps the best of intentions, felt that it was very important not to allow this particular break-in to be escalated into a way that it would affect so-called higher-ups. And so consequently, they tried to contain it. Now, there was no reason to be concerned about it affecting a higher-up. After all, that wasn't going to affect the election. We were leading a McGovern, who was going to be the Democratic candidate, by a margin of 2-1 when that occurred. We were going to win going away anyway, because I would just come back from the great triumph of the Moscow summit. And of course, we were making progress in ending the war in Vietnam. But nevertheless, they felt that. And so as a result, they tried to come up with various schemes to contain it, to keep it from touching people higher up. And we didn't concentrate on doing what we should have done to clean it up right then when we could have. After the election, of course, there was even less excuse for not doing something about it. My notes and diaries made when we were at Camp David, when I was trying to bring the war to Vietnam to an end, to reorganize the government, prepare the inaugural speech, to select new members of the cabinet, my notes indicated that over and over again, I said, let's get a report on this thing. Let's clean it up, because the election is over now. But nothing was done. And then we simply compounded those failures. We even considered giving clemency to those that had done it so that they wouldn't talk about those higher up. We didn't do it, but we considered it. We talked about it. We even considered, as the infamous or notorious tape of March 21st, 1973 indicated, considered paying blackmail. We didn't do it. We decided not to, as that tape also disclosed, but nevertheless, we talked about it. And the problem was that all of that was, of course, exacerbated by the fact that what we talked about, even though we didn't do it, was on tape. And so what happened was that the way we handled it, and we're responsible for it, the way we handled it, took what was basically a misdemeanor, a break-in in which nobody was hurt, and made it the crime of the century. I must say, with the assist of the media and the assist of our very, may I say, intelligent and ruthless Democratic opponents.
With the Republican Party. But it would be worse. And they would try to use this to derail momentum in the Republican Party in the days ahead. And a new Monica Lewinsky type of a scandal.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Ms. Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part for which I am solely and completely responsible. I misled people, including even my wife. I deeply regret that.
On the evening of August 17th, 1998, millions of Americans gathered around their televisions to witness something unprecedented. A sitting president confessing to misleading the nation about an affair. For 7 months, Bill Clinton had vehemently denied allegations of an inappropriate relationship with former White House intern Monica Lewinsky. Yet that night, in a brief and carefully worded address from the map room, the 42nd President of the United States finally admitted what much of the country already suspected. Those words echoed through living rooms, newsrooms, and political circles around the globe. It was not just an admission of personal failing. It was a moment that blurred the line between private sin and public accountability. For the first time in modern history, the nation confronted in real time the spectacle of a president publicly reckoning with moral transgression.
A new Monica Lewinsky, Marilyn Monroe type of a scandal would try to come out in the White House.
Did JFK and Marilyn Monroe have an affair? Let's discuss. The pair first met in 1954, but rumours of affair didn't start swelling until 1962, after they both stayed the night at Bing Crosby's house, with many accounts saying that the pair were together for the whole evening. Biographer James Spader states that it was clear that Marilyn had sexual relationships with both Bobby and JFK. And according to a 2013 book by Christopher Anderson, Marilyn reportedly called Jackie Kennedy, telling her that she intended on accepting a proposal of marriage from the president. Jackie reportedly responded, stating, "That's great, Marilyn. You move into the White House and take up the responsibilities of First Lady. I'll move out and you'll have all the problems." The idea of an affair between two of America's most famous individuals at the time struck the imagination. But this is the only picture of them together. And after 60 years, there is still no evidence to confirm that the pair did engage in an affair, with rumours always coming back to the iconic Happy Birthday performance that Marilyn performed for JFK. With both Marilyn and JFK long past, we may never know the truth about their relationship, or not. But with new documents about JFK being released every year and more to come, we may one day get an answer.
And the Lord said specifically to pray against this. And as we were praying last night, the Lord reminded me about that black looking gauze that looked like the death angel. And it reminded me of the plague again. He reminded me of what he said, that COVID was a test run. I saw a meeting and they were contemplating the next virus. Okay. They were in a room, and I could see these heads of these leaders, and that's where I'll leave that. I won't say who I saw. Doesn't matter. I saw the 350 million people perish. 350 million would go home. but I didn't know. I thought it was going to be a kind of like a COVID thing. Well, I saw a laboratory. I saw AI. AI, computer technology and AI was creating a super virus. They were using the AI to create something more dangerous in the end times than what COVID was. And I start seeing that there is a major announcement by the United States government. And I see the president, but in this dream, it's President Trump again. And President Trump is holding a podium with the presidential seal on this podium. And he starts talking, and he has a blue suit on with a white shirt and a red tie. Again, just like he always has, he usually wears, but it was a really bright blue suit. But he was very somber in his face. And he said, my fellow Americans, basically, he says, I have an announcement to make. There's another virus. And he starts explaining to everybody that this virus is basically a new virus that is going to dwarf COVID, that made COVID look like it was a wimpy virus compared to what this new virus is. This is the fourth time he has spoken to me about the virus, and he keeps giving me more details. And that the next one would be COVID on steroids. I say all this to prepare you, not to scare you. I say this all the time. I truly believe we're about to see some radical things. I don't always have to agree with the Israeli government, just like I don't agree with everything our government does. But I stand for the peace of Jerusalem. I pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I pray for the people of Israel, and I believe that Israel is forever. I believe they're God's people. I'm trying to tell you, I believe we're in the end of the end times, and Jesus Christ is coming, ladies and gentlemen. But we need to draw a line in the sand, and I see so much anti-Semitism that's about to rise up in these last days, and you're going to see our Jewish brothers and sisters flee and go home like the word said they would. But we as believers have to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I know Jared Kushner is the errand boy for the Antichrist. He's going to have a dark cloak around him in the days ahead. And he will run about, the forerunner, the pre-Antichrist is what the Lord said. Of the Antichrist spirit will rest upon Jared Kushner with Emmanuel Macron. Now, Emmanuel Macron's term, I believe, is done this year.
Said in the last hour that he will never join a task force in the Strait of Hormuz until hostilities finish. Yet yesterday you said...
Who said that? Who said?
President Macron of France. What's your reaction to that, sir?
Well, he'll be out of office very soon, so we'll have to see. I don't know.
But the Lord said, even whenever his term is done, there'll be things that he does outside of this. I saw a Hitler-type spirit trying to rise up on these men, trying to bring forth this Antichrist spirit. So then I hear that this new leader over Iran is saying that he is the one that is prophetically sworn in by the Quran to bring forth the Mahdi. He believes he is the one that's going to help do this. What did I tell you I saw before all that came out? That's in the news. I said I saw him underneath ground, and he was talking to a man with a white beard, and he was standing next to a rocket, and it had one load, one major bomb. And I saw them talking, and he said, "Do you believe, sir?" He was talking. I could hear him I was hearing him in English, but he was talking to the man with the white beard and a white turban on his head. And they were talking back and forth, and they were going over Islamic prophecy. And they were bouncing things back and forth of things that they knew that was in Islamic prophecy. And he said, "Do you truly believe that we're in that time?" The old man said, "Yes, I do. It's time." And they were devising a plan of how to distract the eagle so they could try to give a fatal blow to Israel. And they believed in doing so, it would bring forth major war and bring forth the Mahdi. This is what I saw, and they were underground. They were talking to a scientist, and they were talking about a megaton like what was in Hiroshima. Talking to him, "Do you believe what we have hidden will work?" beside the rocket was barrels full of biological weapons. And the Lord said, this come from Saddam. Those were the weapons of mass destruction that they could not find. Some of them went to Iran. I saw what it did, and it put boils and it melted the skin off of your body, and it made your back bust in half in convulsions. I saw a very evil plan. And the Lord said, you must pray for what they say is underneath these mountains. And I saw the mountains. The Lord showed me it was deep underneath them in the northeast. I saw it. As we see all this, the Lord said in 2014, right before he comes back, they're going to start to say there's aliens.
We want to make Star Trek real. Okay? We want to make Starfleet Academy real. So that it's not always science fiction, but one day the science fiction turns to science fact. And we have spaceships going through space, big spaceships, with people going to other planets, going to the moon, and ultimately going beyond our star system to other star systems where we may meet aliens or discover long dead alien civilizations. I don't know, but we want to go and we want to see what's happening, and we want to have epic futuristic spaceships with lots of people in them traveling to places we've never been to before.
How about this? Star Trek real.
Well, I'm often asked, are there aliens among us? And I'll say that I am one, but
or you're from the future.
They don't believe me. I think if anyone would know if there are aliens among us, it would be me. We have 9,000 satellites up there, and not once have we had to maneuver around an alien spaceship. So I'm like, I don't know. Bottom line is, I think we need to assume that life and consciousness is extremely rare, and it might only be us. And if that's the case, then we need to do everything possible to ensure that the light of consciousness is not extinguished.
We're about to see some radical stuff, folks. That is crazy. It's coming. A great deception is coming.
So my family, don't forget to pray about all these things you've actually heard, because they are shared so that we pray about it, and them being repeated over and over and over, it might actually mean that we're getting close to seeing all those things happen. So I'll meet you in the next one. As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you.